following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha and good afternoon. Welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly show where we talk story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support the needs of the Maui's community of Hello, one of these days I'm going to get that right on the first try. See, I'm not supposed to be reading. I'm better at ad-libbing, so when I try to read...
You're very good at ad-libbing. The scripts are tough for you.
And I wrote the script. That's what's bad. Anyway, how they're working to support the needs of Maui's community. We're sponsored by Pacific Source, Maui's best source for building materials with a cabinet and appliance showroom open to the public in the Waikapu Base Yard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Interim Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific and President of the Maui Nonprofit Directors. I'm happy to introduce my co-host for today's show. Hey, Max, that sounds familiar. Didn't we say that last week?
Yeah, just last week. It was the both of us, and I think we do this at least a month, every month or so.
We're creating a team here.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so we got Max Tornai from Mediation Services Maui.
Yes. How are you doing today, Susie?
I think I'm doing okay because I'm done with the script.
Yeah, good. Okay. Well, during this hour, we'll be sharing the experiences of how nonprofit community leaders and their agencies work to benefit our beautiful island home with stories of how their agencies are changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope. And today, we have a whole team, a gaggle from MEO's Early Childhood Development Program. And who should we start with?
I think we'll start with Debbie Amaral, who is the director of the program, Early Childhood Services.
Yes.
How are things at MEO?
Excellent.
And in your department?
Busy. It's the start of the new program year. It's been nonstop busyness.
And you've got some training going on right now.
Today is training for the staff focused on child outcomes and how to track child development and the progress that children are making throughout the program year. So it's a full day.
Wow. And how many people are going through that training right now, approximately?
I would say about 60.
Wow.
So that's your teachers assistants?
Teachers aides. We were able to bring over 3 staff from Molokai. And the thing is, they're returning next week again for 2 full days of pre-service training. But for today, we brought in as many people as we could.
Nice.
That's terrific. So then when does the program actually start, or school starts?
School starts for our children next week, Thursday, the 9th of August. And we have some of the children from UHMC, the College Campus Center, starting the week after that, I believe. So it's a little bit of a challenge because, again, they're different schedules. But next week it kicks off. Yes.
So now, how many centers do you have?
We have 13 on Maui and 2 on Molokai, and a partnership on the island of Lanai. Lanai, we serve 5 children, only because the population does not afford us the opportunity to have a center there. But 2 centers on Molokai, and 13, the balance is here on Maui.
Wow. So a total of 16.
Total of 16, yes.
And how many children go through the...
We are funded through the federal government to serve 298 children.
Wow.
So that's spread out. We have, most centers have 20 children, with the exception of, again, Lanai with 5, and Kahikili Terrace, we have 15 children there.
Gotcha. Now, as I recall, your waiting list was almost as long as the number of children that get in.
Yes. And I cannot quote the numbers from this year. We are still doing the statistics search, but from last year, we had approximately 324 children on the wait list, and out of that, approximately 240 were income eligible children, meaning that they meet the poverty guidelines for Head Start eligibility.
And over the course of the year, how many might get placed?
I believe it maybe was about 20, because I know although we start with 298, we had 312 children that was served. 321 children that was served this past year. We had 312 families.
Gotcha.
Some families have more than one sibling that attends.
So now, what age children are we talking about?
These are 3s and 4s. The priority, based on our selection criteria, is 4-year-olds, because we have the understanding that these children will have their next step be kindergarten. So we want to make sure that those children have the tools and the skills and the abilities ready to be successful in kindergarten. So, but we do pick up some 3-year-olds.
So the 3-year-olds that you pick up, do they stay in then for the 4 years?
Yes, and they do not have to establish income eligibility again. Once they're in the Head Start program, they remain until they exit out.
Terrific.
Yeah, so you said 312 children served last year, and you had funding for 298.
Yes, and what happens is the children that are in, some of them drop out. They move, or they, exit out for whatever reason, and we have 30 days to fill that slot, and that's a Head Start requirement.
Okay.
So we always have to have a wait list available of children that can enter at any time.
Wow.
And the number of families that qualify on that wait list
exceeds.
that's crazy.
It is. And, I believe that our state recognizes that as an unmet need, that there are many children, regardless if the families work or not, there are many children that are not ready to enter kindergarten with the skills necessary to be successful.
So what kind of skills is that? What kind of skills are those?
The one thing that I know as Head Start we look at is the social emotional. Walking into an environment, being able to detach from their parent, feel safe and secure in that environment so that they can begin the cognition. Another piece is the health issues. A lot of children, if they don't have the health in terms of their teeth is not well, their health is not well, there's no way they can focus on the cognition again.
Sure.
So it's all of those pieces coming together, and once the child's health and their well-being is in place, then you can start focusing on all the other essential
Additional
pieces.
skills, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
We spend so much time talking about adults and homelessness, and how placing adults in a home setting is so important for them to function. Here we are with the kids, and so often they're the ones that are forgotten. It's like, take care of the family. Well, the family's not just mom and dad.
Right.
It's the kids.
Very much so. And it's not just the preschoolers. It's the, prenatal is important, birth to 5. Once they turn the age eligibility that they can go into the public school, then at least you have an intervention piece there where the public school can work with the families. But for these other children, there's a limited number of resources out in the community.
Before we went on the air and talking about resources, you were saying that federal funding is really what you've got to work with this year.
Yes. Unfortunately, I was sharing with Susie, in years past, I had several different supplementary grants that helped the Head Start program. This year, I do have to say, though, we do have the County of Maui, which, kudos to our mayor and to the county council for supporting extended day services for Head Start families. However, we still need to have other resources to come in, because if not, what's happening is the federal government, if your operating costs continue to rise, but there's no monies coming in to support that, you find yourself operating on a very tight budget.
Yeah.
Now, the governor's working on an early childhood program for the state. Does that have a potential to help you?
I believe it does. Terry Locke, who is our state resource person working in the governor's office. Now, there's a new office of early childhood which is established, and she's the one person operation right now, and there's more people coming in to help support her efforts. But I think that what they're doing right now is establishing the need, and they have a plan in place that they're working at fine-tuning that will hopefully serve vulnerable children in our state.
Now, do you see that going out to help the people that are on your wait list to get more centers or more activity rather than helping you with the ones you've already got established?
I really believe that there's a place for services, especially that will meet the unmet population. So whatever that means and whatever that looks like, I know that MEO will be a partner in facilitating, supporting that effort, because one of our major commitments is to the population of Maui County, as well as the state, to ensure that all children have the opportunity to have this early intervention, support, and not just the education of, again, it's the health, it's the comprehensiveness of support.
So, I mean, to me, it makes sense to go with somebody who's got a proven record and say, hey, okay, instead of 16 centers, maybe you need 25 centers, and fund MEO to the extent where you can open those additional 9 centers and help those kids.
And I'm fortunate that I'm on various boards or support groups that have an influence on, at least my voice can be heard through the Head Start Association, through various entities that I'm part of that planning process, or I'm in touch with someone who has a voice at the table when those decisions are being made. So definitely.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's not a whole bunch of new people, strangers that they've collected. What do you think? You know, you've got proven leaders.
True. And I sincerely believe that the intent is to help the most vulnerable children, and that's where the focus will be.
Terrific. But it could take a couple of years for this to get going.
It's going to take a couple of years, and it's definitely going to take money. And
Right.
so, both of those items are commodity at these very lean times.
Hard to come by, yes.
Very much so.
Right, but now's the time to plan, because when it
Yes.
starts to turn around, then they've got
Yeah.
the plan to go into action.
And I've been in early childhood for, not dating myself, but it's been several years. And
She started out in Head Start, and
yeah,
then went
right out of high school.
You graduated from Head Start and became the leader of Head Start. Okay.
But I've seen significant changes, and the leadership that we have, throughout our state is, people are very mindful and intentional, and this is a very important time for the early childhood field. So I'm excited about the possibilities that are ahead of us.
Well, I know at different budget hearings around the county, when the council members go out, and you've had people testify, and you've had some instances where you've had the second generation. Are you into the third generation yet?
I can't say that I've talked to anyone, but I know for a fact that we are serving a number of different, if it's not a sibling or a parent or a grandparent. So we're starting to see that generation come around. And I've been with MEO Head Start for 17 years. So I've definitely seen that piece pop up every so often.
Yeah.
And we have staff that's, I think Lydia, our family case manager from Molokai, she's been in the program for over 20.
Wow.
So, I'm sure that there's individuals that have seen that. Our goal, however, is to ensure that parents do not come through the system too often, because our goal is to provide them with the support so they can become self-sufficient.
Sure, yeah.
But with individuals losing jobs, or with different state subsidies or support being cut, people find themselves facing the same dilemmas repetitively, and that's a challenge.
Yeah, that is.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I noticed in your annual report from this past year, you had a lady who was graduating from college.
Yes.
Who had been through the program.
Yeah, she went to the Haiku Center, and her mother works through the county of Maui, and we connected, and she sent me her picture, and I believe she was graduating with her master's or.
Wow.
Now a nursing instructor at the University of Hawaii Maui College.
Yes. So
Isn't
we're
that
very
cool?
proud of
Yeah.
that accomplishment.
Yeah, that's great.
And she's just one of many, many success stories.
Right.
We have them happening every day. There's someone who we either identify, call in, and but that's what our mission is to help them to achieve their potential, dream a dream, and make it become reality.
Right. You're really giving these children an opportunity to grow into successful adults.
Absolutely.
It's vital at that age. So take us through a day in the Head Start program. I mean, back in my day, sorry, a long time ago, 50, 60 years ago, preschool was probably a couple hours.
He's been trying to convince everybody that he's old. He did that on our 4th of July show. What was it? You said?
I don't know. But my question is, when I was in preschool, it was like half day. Is that same for Head Start?
We have two options. We have a full day program for identified for working families, and then a part day program for families that are not working. And typical day, children come in the morning. There's some free play, free choice activities, manipulatives like puzzles, things for children to do. And then they go into what is considered large group circle. So at circle time, the teacher will basically kind of review the day, look at either what happened yesterday, what's happening tomorrow, and what we're planning to do today. Some teachers elect to do calendar. That's a little bit complex for young children. And so I know from my own philosophy, I like just talking about what happened yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Right.
And, maybe reading a book, singing some songs. Then they transition to hand washing and get ready for breakfast. And with MEO comprehensively, we provide a hot meal.
Great.
So children will receive a nice, healthy breakfast. And then we do what's called tabletop toothbrushing.
Oh, yeah.
That's a new concept for a lot of families.
Hold on.
Tabletop
We're
toothbrushing.
going to set the stage here for tabletop toothbrushing. That sounds really weird. Anyway, we're going to take a break and let Paul talk about Pacific Source.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we're back. This is the weekly Maui Nonprofit Notes radio show where we're talking story with the executive directors and staff people from the various agencies, telling about what they're doing to make Maui the greatest community on earth. Today we're talking with Debbie Amaral and some of her staff, and we will get to the rest of you. Debbie is the director of the Early Childhood Services Program at MEO, and she was taking us into something that sounded really interesting, so that's why I took the break real quick.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister. It's tabletop toothbrushing. Yeah. So that's just toothbrushing without water?
Yep. The children have a cup with their toothbrush and a little bit of pea-sized toothpaste. They'll brush their teeth and then they'll spit in the cup. And there's many reasons why, but the biggest two reasons. One is the chaos of trying to manage 20 children to go to the sink and brush their teeth, and it was really challenging. And for a short like a half-day center, that time element was critical.
Sure.
Then the second piece was we found that the dentists had recommended, because the fluoride from the toothpaste sits in the children's mouth and it protects and strengthens the teeth. So, in years ago, we used to do fluoride treatments for the children, just chewable fluoride. But as years went on, many pediatricians were not willing, and I don't know if it's to do with liability or what the case, but they were not so willing to sign the prescription. So we ended up moving to this, and it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, right. It's more efficient and
by
better
not
for the
using
kids.
water, it doesn't wash it off right away.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So after we brush our
after
teeth,
toothbrushing, then they'll go into center play, where we have the room set up intentionally to promote learning and engagement, and that's where the teachers can either plan one craft or learning activity with the children, and the rest of the children will float around in the centers, play, engage with their friends, and then after that we get ready to go outside and play. And outdoor play lasts for maybe about 40 minutes. And during that time, someone has picked up lunch. Then the children come in, they wash their hands, or they have circle first again. They come together, convene, do songs, read a book. They go into lunchtime. After that, tabletop toothbrushing again.
So you
And then
provide breakfast and lunch.
breakfast and lunch. And for our full day centers, after that period of time, the children will go home if it's a half day. For the full day, the children will usually go down to nap, and we don't force children to to sleep. It's a quiet time. Majority of the children, because it's been an energetic day, they fall asleep with no problem. And after that, after they get up, they have an afternoon snack. And then at that point, they'll have some more activities until it's time to go home.
Sounds great.
I want to go.
I want to go.
I want to go.
Yes. It's a wonderful day, and the children have the ability to gain so much learning during that period of time. It's amazing.
You were saying at the beginning of the show that the emphasis is on social and emotional development, right? So that's really what's important. Even just playtime is really important for those skills.
And anyone walking into an environment, any preschool environment, you look in, it's like, all I see is children playing with each other, and but you never know. These children playing in the block area, they're building, they're learning about balance, they're learning about math, they're engaging in conversation, learning new vocabulary about architecture, or just a crane being raised. So there's so much going on. So much going on.
And then even beyond that, sorry, I know we're going to get to your other stuff, but you have Maui County funding your...
Yes, the County of Maui, they help with what's considered wraparound or extended day services at 6 of our centers.
Wow. And so how late would that go?
Well, unfortunately, we did not receive all the funding that we had requested. So at one center, it's only till 1:30.
Okay.
But for all the remaining, it's till 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, good. Okay, so you have 2 staff here,
I have
Deborah.
2 wonderful staff, and the rest, all wonderful staff, are in training
Yeah.
at the office.
We were lucky.
Did you draw straws?
Who gets to come?
It wasn't by invitation.
Okay, so who have we got here? What are they going to talk about?
I have Ana Mejia Vasconcelos, and she is the assistant director, my right and my left hand, and she supports our program in its entirety. She helps all 3 of our early childhood services programs. But I believe she's going to talk about Kahikamali'i.
Kahikamali'i.
And we had Anna on
Yes.
last time you guys were here,
Yes.
right? So you're an old pro, so
That's
step into the
right.
microphone and tell us about it.
Okay. Well, Kahikamali'i, we do have a child care center called Kahikamali'i. It's for infants and toddlers. Children, we are licensed for children 6 months to 4 years of age. Right now, our youngest ones are about a year old. And a little bit different program because it is tuition based. It's a little bit different than Head Start. Head Start, it's free services. For Kahikamali'i, we have a monthly tuition of $725 per month per child.
725?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
that's correct. So it is a little bit different. They as well have routines in the classroom. They have lots of activities for the children. And actually, I have a personal experience of my own because I just started my little boy at Kahikamali'i. I was a little bit more concerned with him obtaining social skills. And once he went into the center, he just became like another different person. So it's a really good opportunity for young children to be able to obtain social skills and as well as self-help skills. He now wants to wash his hands by himself. He's 1 year old. So, he wants to brush his teeth. So, they get the opportunity to become a little bit more independent. And what's really great about it is that they follow a routine that they know is predictable and that they can follow. So it's definitely a wonderful person. That's a wonderful program.
Yeah.
And that's true, Carol. It is a safe place for all the children.
So the $725 a month, is that comparable to like having them in childcare or having a babysitter? Or
Yes,
Okay.
it is. And
I
as a
don't
matter
have
of
kids,
fact,
so
I
I
think
don't know.
Debbie can speak a little bit more on that, but it is a pretty reasonable price. We recently had to increase the tuition.
But you're certainly getting a lot more in this setting than if you were in a childcare setting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
terrific.
that's
And how many toddlers are participating?
We have, we're licensed for 20 children total.
Okay.
And we have 2 different, we split them up into 2 different areas. One, and basically it's for different time zones. So one starts at 7:30 to 4,
Okay.
and then the other one is from 8 to 4:30.
Okay.
So dependent on what the parents' needs are, according to their work schedules, we'll enroll children. Right now, we do have openings available. So we are taking applications in the Head Start office,
Okay.
in the MEO
Okay.
the MEO building.
And how do they reach you?
They can reach us at our telephone number, which is 249-2988. And they can just let us know that they would like to apply for Kahika Mali'i, and then we'll let them know what the process is for that.
And now that facility is there on the MEO grounds, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
it's right,
it is.
Just in
Well,
Wailuku?
Yes, it's about
Right behind the Cameron Center.
Yeah, it's about a 1-minute walk.
Yeah.
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 Terrific. So you've got some openings, so wonderful. And that's year round.
It
That's
is
not based on any
year-round.
school year or anything.
No, it's not. It's year round.
And just a plug in, that center is a partnership between Cameron Center and MEO, but the primary focus of the enrollment of eligibility, we're looking at working families, low-income families, teen parents, and we do receive funding again from our wonderful County of Maui. Thank you to the mayor and to county council members. And the rest is all tuition based, but many of these families qualify for a state subsidy through Child Care Connection, which is accessible through Arbor. And for those families, we work closely with them to try and see ways that we can provide them with financial assistance.
Terrific.
So every family is and we also enroll families who are not considered like middle income or high income families. So the population of the children there are very mixed.
Gotcha. So if the $725 sounds like a lot of money, don't let that stop you from making that
No,
phone call
no.
or stopping by.
That's right.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Anna.
Oh, you're welcome.
And our last person, not last but
always
not
last.
least. Least but what is
No,
that?
no,
They say-
last but not least.
And they save the best for last.
Best for last, yes.
Oh, I
Okay.
feel honored to be here.
Okay, Carol, what are you up to?
That depends on the day.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Okay.
Actually, I facilitate our Ohana Strengthening Program. MEO, our Early Childhood Services, basically believes in our family strengthening. So we do a program at my community correctional center, and I work with the women. We do a parenting program. We open that up to all the women there. We were fortunate enough to do that.
So not just women that might have children.
No.
Any woman.
Any woman that is incarcerated,
Uh-huh.
unfortunately, is able to participate in our program. So on top of the parenting portion, if they participate, they are also eligible to have their children come in for a once-a-week visit. What was once a week, unfortunately, the funding has been cut. So we've downsized the program a little and able to keep it running. So now it's going to be about once a month for the child and mother participation.
But that's still a great motivation for participants to go through that program. I mean, would they otherwise not be able to see their children?
A lot of them haven't been able to see their
Yeah.
children. It's very heart-wrenching when you finally do the child interaction with them. I mean, I had a little boy that when he came in the door and he saw his mom, he was like, "You're all right."
Oh man.
And that was what his worry was all about, was
Yeah.
that his mom's not all right. And when he got to see her, he was just in tears. "You're all right."
Right.
Now you do special events too, like isn't there a Mother's Day or Christmas?
We do
and-
2 events, a holiday event and a Mother's Day event, where we allow the other women, because it's children 0 to 13 years of age that are able to participate on the weekly basis. And after that, for the holiday and Mother's Day event, it's 0 to 18. And that's a really touching event as well.
Now,
I
are
can
these
believe
these
it.
events all held at the prison or?
Yes, we have to hold
Okay.
them at the facility.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
That's, yeah.
So-
Well,
How
they
ma- how-
learn parenting
Yeah.
skills. They learn child development. They learn what it's all about to be there with their children.
And about how many did you say were in this program?
It varies.
Yeah.
I know that this past year we've served over 180 women.
Oh wow.
Wow. That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. You're right. Now those 180 women. How many children are we talking about? Are we
I
talking
believe
two
it
to
was,
three each?
It depends.
Yeah.
I think it was like 120,
Yeah.
the numbers.
So, have you found? I guess how do you determine success in a program like that? When mom gets out of
When I see them out on the street and they're with their children and their children look healthy. and happy
There
and
you
they're
go.
like, Auntie Carol, I'm all good.
Yeah.
I see them till today. I've been doing this for 9 years now, and I still see the children, and they still run up to me and excited.
some of them from the first years. That's when you know it's really worked.
And I've seen families transition that have gone through our Head Start program, through community services. Some of them have gone through the program that you used to run before,
Right.
and now thriving, healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was 3 great programs from MEO's Early Child Development
Isn't it?
Program.
It is. It is. It's like there's something for everyone
Right.
in this. You can serve people who make more money, but have the need to help their kids get kind of acclimated to life.
Yeah.
Is what it amounts to, and you're helping the incarcerated mother with the children. And now the classes that you have, those run. What are you, weekly in the
Weekly.
in the prisons, and then you have those 2 events. That's awesome. You were gonna say something?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw a light bulb.
Yeah.
I have a light
Okay.
bulb.
Yeah, Deborah.
Okay, Debbie, what have you got?
I just wanted to do a plug for the One Strong Ohana, the program that Carol operates, and even for the Head Start program and Kahi Kamali'i. We're looking at the strengths of our families, and we're also looking at the support from our community. And every person has a responsibility to make sure that children are safe at all times. And if you ever are suspecting child abuse or a child being neglected, speak out, tell someone, do something on behalf of that child. For young children, birth to 5, when they're just starting to get their words and able to articulate their thoughts and feelings, it's that adult that they will trust and go to. And for us, we have to always be cognizant of their needs and be mindful to speak up and do something about it, not just turn around and think that it's not your business, because you have to make it your business.
And so who's the best person to call, or the best agency? The police in those situations?
CWS, Child Welfare Services.
Okay.
The police is also another entity, and there is information available online. If you Google or search, use your favorite search engine for One Strong Ohana, or even the Joyful Heart Foundation, or Hawaii Children's Trust
The
Fund.
Hawaii Children's Trust Fund has done this campaign called the One Strong Ohana. So they have a website that is geared directly to child abuse and neglect.
And so they collect donations for, or
No donations.
What they're looking for, I think, is to get the word out so
Okay.
that adults know what they can do to help support families. And, there's statistics online about Maui County that's pertinent just to our county. There's state information, but it's very, very simple, doable things like, if someone needs help, offer them your help, offer to listen. If you make extra food for dinner, take it to your neighbor's house if they have kids. Be that respite person if you can. Or at least there's many, many, many different organizations. MEO Head Start, Maui Economic Opportunity is one of them. There are many different service agencies on Maui that can help support these families, regardless of their income as
Right.
well.
Don't just turn a deaf ear when
blind
someone's
eye.
asking for
Yes.
help in one way or
Right.
another.
Right,
Yes.
right. Because
Right.
it may not be severe, but depending on the stresses that the family's going through, there's that potential, and we want to just make sure that we support one another. And you know what? So we were lucky in Hawaii. We're brought up that way. I remember the olden days where, neighbors, you didn't have to lock your doors, but we helped one another.
Right.
And fortunately, today that's still alive. It's that aloha spirit.
Right.
And just remember that our keiki needs that every day.
Terrific. Thank you all for being here with us, Anna, Carol, Debbie.
Yeah. You guys
Thank
are doing
you
a
for
great
having
job.
us.
Terrific program.
Yeah.
Programs.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're fortunate.
That's great. And once again, phone number
249-2988.
249-2988. and that'll get you just about anything for the kids.
And what's the MEO's website?
I believe that it's Charity Finders, www.charityfinders.org. And I could be wrong, but if not, again, your favorite search engine, Maui Economic Opportunity.
Type in MEO, and it'll take you to
right there.
It's
It'll take you right there.
MEOINC.charityfinders.
Thank you very much,
I just
Susie.
happened to look.
Well, I'm right
Terrific.
there, so I get it easy. So it's almost like your own phone number is like, what was that
Yeah,
number
right.
again?
I never call myself.
Yeah, right. Terrific. Thank you all for
Thank
being
you.
here.
You're
and
welcome. Thank you for having us.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's take a
Aloha.
break here and talk to let Pacific Source do the talking.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
Aloha and welcome back to Maui Nonprofit Notes. We just finished discussion with Debbie Amaral, Carol Vita, and Ana Vasconcelos from the staff of Early Childhood Education Services at MEO. Now we're going to be talking with Greg Lagoy, who's the Executive Director of Hospice Maui.
Hello, Susie.
Hi, Greg. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
It's a
Nice
good
to
day?
be here again.
Is it a good day?
It's a very good day. You know, my chair is creaking to the point where I think it's actually coming through the microphone.
I think it is.
think
I
it
can hear
is.
it. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, now we're in business. I know we've talked on past occasions. The last time you were here, you were telling us about the marvelous change that you've made in your plans for your new center.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably talked about those for 3 weeks after that to anybody who would listen. It was like, it was just
That's why
so
I like.
cool.
That's why I like doing this show, because I'm recruiting people who really easily become impassioned with good things. That's what you do. That's the wonder of this show.
Yeah.
Is impassioning people about good things.
Well, the light bulb went on. What can I say? It's like, this is it. This is the answer. Because you were talking about bringing it down from so many beds to fewer beds, more like the home setting. The comfort level is so much greater in that.
The intimacy is greater.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's interesting, there are wider and larger issues that hospice is a smaller part of. That thing about the facility is very hospice specific. But, one of the things that I do frequently is I educate public groups about advanced directives.
Mm.
And I know you have expressed some interest in finding out a little bit more about such things as 5 Wishes or the Hawaii Advanced Directive Law. And there's some other things. So I think maybe today we could
Let's do that.
Yeah,
chat
let's go
about
into
that
some
a little
detail.
bit.
Yeah, because one of the things that's always interested me about the directives, you've got your it's written out what you want. You don't want to be resuscitated or whatever the deal is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty ignorant of this. Are you talking about like a living will type of situation? Yeah. Okay.
An advanced directive for healthcare
For healthcare.
is the new terminology for a living will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, you're in the hospital, your heart stops. What do you do? Or what should the doctors do? And the thing that always gets me is that I've heard stories of families who didn't share. The person didn't share with their family what they wished.
Uh-huh.
And so the hospital's sitting there with that advanced health directive saying, don't resuscitate. And you've got the kids standing there going, well, come on, do something.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the ethics committee at the hospital, have been for like 15 years. And believe me, there are many, 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 many stories that are like this. What I like to say to people when I give a talk on this is that an advanced health care directive is less a legal document and more a communication tool. And an example of that is that in Hawaii, a person's wishes can be given orally as well as in written form, and it is binding. One of the things that we used to find is that when people did execute an advanced healthcare directive, they would keep it locked up, they would give it to their lawyer or their doctor, and it would be in their chart, and it would be really never heard from again unless you were lucky enough to figure out that it needed to go to the hospital with you.
Where it was.
And it's a communication tool. If you imagine, for instance, if Oprah Winfrey had strong opinions in this area about what she wanted done, if she were unable to speak for herself, because this is what this is about. It's about what you want done or not done when you're not able to speak for yourself. Do you think that there would be big arguments in the hospital with families saying one thing and some piece of paper saying something? No. Because she lets everybody know just where she is and just what she thinks, right?
But there's also a tape of that. There's something that people can go back to. With an oral directive, how do you...
This is a big topic. Keep in mind that most people watch more television, they spend more time watching television in one evening than they spend talking about their wishes at the end of life for their whole life, okay? So when someone actually takes the time to talk about this, it becomes a big deal. People remember. It's like, oh my God, Mom is talking about dying. Oh no, what she wants. And so it's a big deal. And the advanced, and it's advanced, not advanced ED, it's Advanced Healthcare Directive. It's a directive in advance of, you're making it now for the time when you can no longer speak for yourself. It is a communication tool, and that's all it is. And if people looked at it that way, they'd recognize that executing this, making it out, filling in the blanks, and sharing their thoughts with people around them, that process is the important process. When that's done, this doesn't come up. The person's in the hospital. Do you have an advanced health care? Or does this person have it? If it's yes or if it's no, it doesn't have a big impact on the care because everybody involved, all the family members, are on the same page. Great example, we had a class up at Kula Hospital once with some nurses. This is quite a few years ago when not too many people had advanced directives. And this, I asked how many people in the room had an advanced directive, and this one nurse in her middle 30s was one of the few people who raised her hand, and usually people are quite a bit older by the time they're getting there, and it was like, well, there must be a story here. What's the story? And she said, my husband's uncle died without an advanced directive, and the fight among the family members about what to do and what not to do tore the family apart, and it has never recovered. And we said, we don't want that to happen to us. We don't want to put our children in that situation. We're doing this. And so they each made up advanced healthcare directives. When they went to sign as witnesses on each other's, they were horrified to find that they wanted opposite things. It took them a year before they were able to accept each other's wishes. A year. He wanted everything done, and she wanted nothing done. And in part of the discussions about that, his perspective was, well, if I'm like in some vegetative state and being kept alive by machinery, I'm probably dreaming, and I love my dreams. And it's like being on permanent vacation. It's like here I've got a paid vacation. I go traveling and flying in my dreams. I do all this wonderful stuff. And why would I want that to stop?
That's an interesting perspective.
Isn't it? It's a very unusual perspective. And so the point of this is that they weren't under stress. There was no illness, and it took them a year to be able to accept what each other wanted so that they could support and stand behind the other person's wishes. And that kind of points that this is about communicating. And one of the things I tell people in classes is once you've made your advanced directive, keep a copy posted on your refrigerator, give a copy to all your family members for sure and friends, and keep a stack in the back seat of your car and drive around with the windows open. You want as many people as possible to know what it is that you want. So if the time comes, it's
right.
Now there's another piece of this, and that is the healthcare power of attorney. Power of attorney for healthcare. The form itself and the lines for you to fill in whatever you want on the form basically cover the most rudimentary and basic situations. I can tell you from being on the ethics committee at the hospital that the range of possible scenarios is beyond your imagination. And you can't possibly cover that ahead of time in a document. And so it's good to appoint someone to speak on your behalf in case the document doesn't cover it. Now, the healthcare power of attorney doesn't have the power to change something that you have on your advance directive. If a specific situation is there that you have addressed, they can't counter that. So you don't have to worry about that. But it is important to pick someone, obviously, who is of similar mind to things so that you can feel secure in having them do for you what you would do for yourself. And that's, there's the hospital has the paperwork for this kind of thing to be done. Hospice has it. Most people's lawyers have it. So that particular thing is something that people should also consider in addition to an advance directive, and that's the healthcare power of attorney. And there's one more piece of this. And this one more piece is a bit of a surprise, and that is that most people think that if they have an advance directive that says, should I be found in a non-responsive state or whatever, I do not want to be resuscitated, blah, 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 blah. If someone calls paramedics and they show up and find you in that state, guess what? It doesn't matter whether or not you have a healthcare directive. They are going to resuscitate you and take you to the hospital, and that healthcare directive will go into force. If they revive you, but you need to be on a ventilator, on some kind of life support, that's when it comes into effect. I know, seriously, people who have tattooed on their chest do not resuscitate. The paramedics are not allowed to honor that. But there is a way, and that is through what's called a POLST, P-O-L-S-T. It's an acronym for Physician Orders for Life-Sustaining Treatment. There are a number of states now who have this. The difference is that it's a physician order and not just your wishes. How nice that you have your wishes, but when the paramedics show up, they don't know the history, the background, they don't know what just happened, they don't know.
It's an emergency situation.
It's an emergency situation. Now, I just want to backtrack just for a moment. Susie, I think it was, you said something about in the beginning, if you're in the hospital. Well, if you're in the hospital and you have a do not resuscitate order, and there's some reason that you need to go into surgery for something, that is suspended in surgery,
Oh, it is?
It is suspended in a surgical situation because that's like a little bubble, and your heart may stop because of your sensitivity to anesthesia or, low levels of blood pressure because of blood loss, whatever it is. And they're duty bound to kind of put you back in your bed alive where they found you. And so they suspend, the DNR order is suspended in that case. So going back to this POLST, Physician Order for Life-Sustaining Treatment, the purpose of that, first of all, if I were to go in and say to my doctor, I'd like to have a pulse to keep in my pocket. Well, I don't have a terminal condition from which I am unlikely to recover. Okay, that is step one. So not just everybody can have a pulse. You have to have something going on that the physician recognizes is a life-limiting or potentially life-limiting condition that is not reversible. And then you have to sign on the dotted line. The physician signs on the dotted line, and it's this bright green piece of paper. And the paramedics will honor that, and they will not respond. And it's one of the things that we try to get in place for many of our hospice patients, because the truth is that sometimes a family member will panic when a hospice patient is dying or has died. And imagine the additional trauma for the paramedics to show up, and here's this person who has died slowly of cancer, and the paramedics have got to put the paddles on them and try to jumpstart their heart and go through. I mean, it's an aggressive, traumatic scene. But if someone panics and calls 911, that's the kind of thing that can happen. So the POLST prevents that because the paramedics show up on the spot. Boom, there's the green paper. It's a person who was expected to not recover?
I have, this kind of hits home for me a little personally. My grandfather has Parkinson's. He's completely digressed. His body's completely stiff. He can't function at all. He's completely bedridden. Can't barely make any facial expressions. Is on a feeding tube and a catheter, and that's how he's being kept alive. He had back in the day, living will, an advance directive now, to not be kept alive on life support. Now, they're in Germany, potentially different laws apply. But my mother had a copy, and my grandfather's pastor in Canada had a copy. And ultimately, it was his wife's decision, and she chose not to let him go. And it was partially because, caring for him was kind of keeping her alive. And in my head, I'm kind of like, well, maybe that's also keeping him alive, knowing that he, in some way, on some subconscious level, is still, supporting her on some level. Maybe people's decisions change, and when you're in that state, I don't know. But I mean, can somebody go against? Can a spouse make that choice? Well, in America,
the interesting thing is that several years ago, maybe at this point, perhaps 10 years ago, there was a study that was done that showed that somewhere in the order of 60%, more than half of advance directives were ignored or gone against. What I can tell you is that if there's a piece of paper quietly saying, I'd prefer not this to have happen, and that's on one side, and on the other side is a bunch of angry family members saying, we're going to sue you, or worse, if you don't do this, then that's a very powerful stick, and the physicians are stuck in the middle with that kind of thing. What I can tell you, though, is that with Parkinson's disease, a person is still competent, still able to communicate in some way, even into a very advanced disease state. The living will doesn't come into place until they cannot really interact in a way, or they're not competent. If they can interact but they're not competent, then it also goes on. So that in your situation, but your situation points to something that I think the listeners will appreciate, and that is that these are human, real situations that touch to the heart of what people are experiencing and going through, and there aren't simple answers.
Yeah.
And the power of an advance directive is a communication tool, and it's entirely possible that she and he came to a different understanding.
Yeah.
So that if that different understanding was communicated, then she's standing by something they came up with, which is different than the paper. I mean,
right. It's very possible. I mean,
Yeah.
that was written 20 years ago.
Right. So they're really complex, and the main thing is being sensitive to all the people involved.
Greg, we're running out of time a little bit. How do people get in touch with Hospice Maui if they need to?
We have the easiest phone number on the island. It's 244-5555.
244-5555. You can't get much easier than that.
There you go. Now, you can be asked to go to meetings and give talks on things like this.
Yes, there's more than one of us at our organization that can do this.
That's terrific. So I encourage people to do this because it's just, at the time that it's needed, it's too late.
Too stressful.
Unfortunately, if you're a person who encourages people to do this, then you're also probably a person that people don't invite to parties, because this is a very difficult and dampening topic.
It is.
And with 1 minute to go, we have to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Greg, because that's a subject that, I mean, it's out there, but it's being treated in many different ways. And we've got to call this thing to a close, and so I'm going to just encourage everyone to get involved, volunteer for organizations like Hospice or like MEO, and do what you can. Check out our website at MauiNonprofit.org for a list of member agencies. And mahalo for tuning in. Don't forget to join us next week.
Yeah, thank you to Pacific Source, our sponsor.
There you go. And we'll be back again next week on KAOI Radio, 1110 a.m., 96.7 FM. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Max.
Thank you, and aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha, everybody. Have a great week.